The Greater Toronto Area offers so many different types of neighborhoods that when you're moving into the area, you can choose from. In today's video, I'm going to actually talk about one of my favorite places in the Greater Toronto Area, and I'm going to tell you why. So let's get into it right now. Hello, everybody. My name is Nasira Jamal, and I'm a local realtor right here in the Greater Toronto Area. If you're new to this channel and you want to learn everything there is to know about working, playing, eating, sleeping, and even really figuring out where you want to live in the Greater Toronto Area, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn your notification on so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Honestly, I get calls all the time from people moving into the Greater Toronto Area, and I absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about moving into the Greater Toronto Area, then make sure you either give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Heck, you can even send a pigeon carrier. However you want to get a hold of me, I've got your back when you're moving into the Greater Toronto Area. So in this video, I'm going to share with you what I feel is one of the top areas in the Greater Toronto Area. And for me, it actually is, in contrast, a very good comparison between where I've lived before in Brampton for 20 years. And I'm going to share with you in this video why I actually moved here. And this area that I moved to is called Orangeville. I've lived here for 2.5 years. In this video, I'm actually going to share with you my experiences, the pros and cons of living in Orangeville, which is about 30 minutes away from Brampton. We are about an hour from downtown Toronto. The reason I moved here is actually one that was not planned. I was thinking I would live in Brampton because my son has special needs, and we had everything set up there for his programming and schooling and all of the resources that he needed. However, there was a man who asked for my hand in marriage, and it really made me think about life differently, because as I accepted his marriage proposal, we were looking for different areas to live in, and Orangeville was on the top of his list. And we did come around, we looked at some homes. What I noticed was initially that, houses just were more spread apart. It is a smaller town. There's about less than 30,000 people that live in Orangeville. And so we started looking at properties and noticed that, the pricing was a little bit less than Brampton. Actually, I would say in 2.5 years ago, it was quite a bit less. But what we were looking at was property with some land. And we ended up buying in a little town called East Garifraxa, which is about 5 minutes from Orangeville, on an acre property. And on another video, I'm actually going to show you my dream home and why we picked the home we picked. But in this video, what I want to talk to you about the pros and cons of living outside of something that was more of a larger city like Brampton. Again, Mississauga, Toronto, if you're looking at Vaughan, if you're looking in the west at Oakville, Burlington. Orangeville is actually, just a very small town. Like I said, there's about 30,000 people that live here. And one of the reasons we moved here was because of that. So the first pro that I'll tell you is it's just less busy here. There's less people, there's less traffic, and it just seems like there's a slower pace of living. So for me, my first experience, going into the grocery store, which is about literally a 3-minute drive from my house to the No Frills here. Actually, I think it's called Price Chopper. I get those mixed up. And there's also Food Basics, and that's right into town, which is a 5-minute drive. So again, even though we were just outside of Orangeville, for me, getting around was just so much easier, even from comparing it to Brampton. Though there are lots more stores in Brampton, it still would take me 10 to 15 minutes to get into a shop or a grocery store that I really liked. So here, I'm able to go grocery shopping, and it's 3 minutes away, and it's just less busy. So there, with COVID, what I have found is, the lineups are less. Depending on the timing, I always seem to go sort of midday, and that really helps. But overall, I just find the stores inside are just less busy. I also really was surprised to see that even at my local grocery store, which is Price Chopper, I was able to get some of the ethnic foods. There's an aisle that they've designated for international cuisine. And I was able to get some of the Indian spices that I use, the Indian groceries like rice. I'm very particular about the rice I use. So this was one of the pros for me, is that we were able to live in a smaller town. We were able to, engage with people in a community with just less hustle and bustle, as I call it, but still had access to everything I needed. One of the cons, though, I'll tell you about this is, as much as I was able to get the Indian spices and things, I was not able to find a butcher or meat store. Being Muslim, I use halal chicken or halal beef. And so this is something I would say is a con, just that for me personally, I have to go into Brampton to get that. Now, I do that as a monthly kind of trek into Brampton, though I'm showing homes and my clients are all over the GTA. So Brampton, Mississauga, I'm there probably every day or every other day anyways for my clients. So if I do need to pick something up, I do get it while I'm there. But that's just one of the cons for me personally that I noticed, that was the only thing I kind of missed, is not having the ability to go into my local butcher shop and just pick up what I needed. So the second pro that I'll tell you that we absolutely love about being in Orangeville or close to Orangeville is the landscape, which just means, that we have access to Hockley Valley, which is a ski resort. There's hiking trails, Monora Park. Again, more hiking, cross-country skiing is there. You get a lot more in terms of the outdoor nature spots like Island Lake. So we love going to Island Lake for hikes in the summer. We take the puppy. Now, it is quite long, the hike. Overall, we don't do the whole hike every single time, but we do take the shorter routes. There is a lake of area where you can go paddle boating. You can have picnics. And there is a cost in the summer to get into the Island Lake area. However, the hiking is free. You can park across the street and walk right in and take your, dog for a walk, or if you're just going for a hike yourself, this is a great spot right in town that you can access. I have to tell you one of the cons, which I guess for me, it hasn't been a real issue, but you do get a lot more tourists in the area for hiking and, skiing and things like that. So at Hockley Valley, at Island Lake, you are going to see more people coming into to use the areas. But, it is something that, because it's so large, I think that we don't really notice so much the amount of people that do use the areas and really make the most out of what Orangeville has to offer. One of the other pros I'll tell you is, winter sports. Now, to be honest, I really don't like any kind of winter sports. I do own ski equipment and skis, and my son has taken ski lessons in Brampton. It's not something that we really get into, but I have a lot of clients that love winter sports, love skiing, snowshoeing, snowboarding. So we have, again, as I mentioned, Hockley Valley that you can access. We have Blue Mountain, which is only like an hour and 15 minutes away. And but just locally, you can use Monora Park for cross-country skiing. You can, go into the hills at Hockley Valley if you wanted to do downhill skiing. So for winter sports, it's great. So one of the cons I'll tell you for this is we get a lot more snow. And for a lot of people, this is not a big deal. But if you do own property, if you have a lot in terms of your driveway or space around you, you are going to be shoveling a lot more. So I'll tell you from my husband's perspective, when it snows here, he has the snowblower out and it's first thing in the morning. And sometimes even when he comes home from work, he still has to snowplow just to get the driveway clear. We do get a lot more snow. And in East Gariffraxa, actually, we're a little bit elevated. We seem to be up a little bit higher. So we do get more windy days here and a little bit colder in terms of temperature. So if you're going to be coming in from Mississauga or Brampton or Toronto, you may find that the air is cooler and that you will notice a temperature change. But for the most part, it's all manageable. It's not like you can't come outside, but just know that that can be something that you might notice. Now, when we were moving here, to be honest, when we found this house, this is one point that my husband didn't really mention to me, is that it is cooler, because he knows how much I dislike the winter. But now that I've lived here for 2.5 years, it's really, I wouldn't trade this place in for the world. I absolutely love Orangeville. Love the fact that there are all different types of restaurants. We've got one of the top restaurants in all of Ontario called Bluebird Cafe, which is right in the heart of Orangeville, right on Broadway. But what we also have is other ethnic foods. We have Indian cuisine here. We've got Greek. We have your normal, like your Subways, your McDonald's, Burger King, but we also have some of the larger restaurants as well. So, it's great to be in an area where you have access to all of the things that you might be used to in a larger city like Brampton or Mississauga, but really in a much slower paced environment. The next pro that I will talk about is just overall in terms of weather. We have beautiful, beautiful summers up this way. Just pretty much like the Greater Toronto area. You will find that because we have more green space, there's more lushness here, there's more gardens and things like this. People really love gardening out this way, and we have lots of garden centers as well. So I do find that I notice that in the different neighborhoods, it's just better landscaped, in my opinion, and maybe just because it's smaller and we notice it more. Whereas in Brampton, there was just so much development in terms of housing that it seemed like the landscaping was more spread out and not as noticeable. Of course, in different neighborhoods, you will find more homes that are landscaped professionally. So in this little part where we live, which is just like I said, outside of Orangeville, called East Garifraxa, because people have a lot more land, typically an acre, a little bit, sometimes more. You just find that they call in landscapers, and a lot of homes in our area have in-ground pools, so everything is landscaped and it looks really, really lovely. One of the cons I will tell you about the weather here is just, again, the winters are colder. We do get more snow. It is windier up this way. And so that's just something you prepare for. And for me now, I've gotten used to it and just add more layers. And I've really gotten used to wearing a hat in the winter, which I never did when I lived in Brampton. So those are, the 4 pros and cons that I would tell you about us moving out here and my own experience, that I can't imagine a better place. I call this heaven on earth. I tell my husband every day when we drive home is, I feel like I'm coming to my own little, piece of heaven or paradise, because it is so lovely up this way. And I just feel the air is cleaner. I feel more relaxed. And I do feel like, I'm not always rushing. And I don't mean physically always rushing, but even in my mind, it's not always in rush. So those are the 4 pros and cons that I wanted to share with you based on my own experience living in the area for the last couple of years. Now, if you're thinking about moving into the area, Orangeville or anywhere in the vicinity, or you want to start looking at some properties, you got to give me a call, send me a text, shoot me an email. Heck, you can even send a pigeon carrier. However you want to get a hold of me, I've got your back when you're moving into the Orangeville area. Until the next video, I'll catch you later.